So I think we've all seen that analog is kind of like the new buzzword of 2026. There are countless Substack articles about it. There's a lot of YouTube videos about it, and there's already a lot of criticism too. Like a lot of people are saying, if you would really be going analog, I wouldn't be hearing so much about it, and that is valid. That is a valid criticism. But I do deeply understand the underlying desire of this hype, which is wanting to live a life with more intention and a life with more attention. Because I personally do really feel like my attention is not really mine anymore. Like in this day and age, with the algorithms, with the internet, with social media, I feel like I don't really have a choice anymore over what I give my attention to. And that is a horrible feeling to have. And there are countless essays in writing as well as in video of people talking about this topic. Like, I don't really have anything meaningful to add to this conversation. Social media is bad, we all know it, no one is really able to escape it. That's sort of the gist of this conversation. But that doesn't mean that we cannot try to incorporate things into our life to get that really intentional feeling back. Like, that's something I've been really thinking about in the past year and something I want to incorporate even more in the coming year. Just trying to spend my time with intention, because as you age, like, time really does speed up, guys. It's not a lie. Like, time really goes faster and faster the older you get. I'm turning 30 this year, and I've heard from other people it's only going to get worse. And I don't want that. I don't want to feel like my time is not really mine anymore. So I'm always looking for ways to, get more intention in the way I interact with the world around me and also with the media I interact with, or the media I consume, as the Substack girlies like to say. So yeah, I just wanted to make a little bit of a chatty video, just talking about things I've learned and slow hobbies that have inspired me, slow media that I love to incorporate in my life, and maybe it will inspire you too. I also wanted to do a little bit of a chatty video because as soon as I got home from Edinburgh, I got the flu, like an actual flu. It's been so long since I had one, and I forgot how horrible they were. And I'm not fully recovered yet. Like, my body is still very much trying to beat the virus inside. I can feel that. I'm so tired. I'm out of breath as soon as I walk up some stairs. So I just wanted to take it easy today and just, have a little chat, get a tea or a coffee, and we could just chat a little bit about how to bring some slowness and intention in our lives with different hobbies, slow media, analog media. Actually, before we dive in, let's talk about analog a little bit, because it is very much a buzzword right now. And I've seen some people like not really understanding what analog is, and it made me doubt myself. So I looked it up, and analog media is basically everything that is non-digital. And apparently that does not include DVDs. DVDs are digital. So DVDs are not analog, guys. I've seen a lot of like people not really knowing what was what. But yeah, I feel like we're just using the analog buzzword as a replacement for what we're really trying to say, which is we want life to slow down. We want life to feel meaningful. We want life to feel like the way we did when we were kids, when we had a choice over what we saw and what we gave our attention to. It really all comes down to having a choice, I feel like. So yeah, that's just something I really want to incorporate more in the year to come, and that's what I want to talk about today. So let's dive into it. Let's start with print media. Like, I think print media is the most analog you can get. And I also feel like reading is the most intentional you can get with your attention, because it's not something you can do with half your brain, like doom scrolling through social media. You're not really fully there. Reading, you have to do with full focus and intention, because otherwise you have no idea what's going on. So I feel like I'm very lucky in the sense that I have always been a reader. Like, ever since I could read, I have been reading books as a hobby. So I feel like that really saved me from my brain from going into full brain rot mode with social media. But I have noticed a change in my reading habits over the past few years, in the sense that I have been gravitating towards more like easy digestible books instead of like difficult literature that uses a lot more brain power to read. It's something I want to get back to, reading more like intellectual work or just literature in general that makes me think a little bit, because I do always feel much better when I've read something that I could really emotionally connect to and that taught me something or just made me think about the world in a different way. I love that feeling, and it's something I haven't encountered a lot in the past 2 years. So that's something I really intentionally want to get back to this year. That's one of my goals. So I have started a book that I bought in Edinburgh. It's called The Witch and the Priest by Hilda Lewis. It's a classic horror, so yeah, it's definitely a different experience from all the fantasy I've been reading in the past few months. But I'm really glad to get back to this. And yeah, I think reading with intention is so important to train your brain to not, wander off and find distractions all the time. Reading is just the best way to do it. But I do think we often forget that outside of books, there are so many other ways to interact with print media, and I have a pile here collected to show you and inspire you in some different ways. Because something I've been getting into a lot again in the past year, which is something I hadn't done in the previous years, is magazines. I used to read so many magazines as a teen, like Cosmopolitan, Elle, all those kind of magazines, and I was obsessed. I used to love it. This was also our source of like celebrity gossip and celebrity outfits, you know? Like, I don't know if Gen Z knows about that, but that was the way we knew what was going on in celebrity world, the teen or like girly magazines. And now we see everything through social media, so there's not really a need for magazines anymore. But I just love the feeling of having that paper in my hand, and it just feels so much more intentional and like a slow down moment to sit down with a magazine and a cup of tea and read what you want to read instead of everything being like bombarded onto you without you asking. So some magazines I really love. I have a subscription to the Paris Review. This is a literary magazine, so there's a lot of short stories, poetry, and interviews with authors. I subscribe to this one specifically because I am trying to be a published author, and I feel like if you want to be a writer, you have to engage with good writing in order to get better, and also just sort of to know what's going on in the literary world. I think that's important. So that's why I subscribe to the Paris Review. My favorite part of these is definitely the author interviews. I just love knowing what's going on inside creative people's minds. It's just so fascinating. So yeah, love this. I also discovered last year this esoteric like folklore magazine. I think it's from the UK. It's called Hellebore. And yeah, it just talks about all kinds of like English folklore, mythology, and some esoteric topics. I just love the way it looks inside. It smells so good. I love the smell of magazines. I don't know why. So that's one. I'm not subscribed, but I ordered these on their website, so you can just get whatever issue you want. And then a subscription I used to have, I don't have it anymore, but I'm thinking of renewing it. This is a very old issue, but it's the world of interiors. I love interior design. I love peeking into other people's houses. I don't know if it's some morbid curiosity within me or just I'm inspired by other people's design choices, but yeah, a good interior design magazine makes me so happy, and this is by far my favorite one. This usually has like the most inspiring interiors to me. I like that they incorporate a lot of more traditional styles as well, because I'm not a huge fan of modern interiors. So that's why I also grabbed this issue, because I just love the cover of this one. So magazines, we have to bring back magazines, guys. Also just save them from going extinct. I used to actually work at a magazine. And while I was there, the company was really just pushing them to go more digital. And it was heartbreaking to witness, like seeing the magazine industry actively fall apart while I was working there made me really sad. I think we should all subscribe to more magazines so that the industry will not die out, because I think that's very important. Something else I love, and you all know this, I've talked about this many times, is Le Petit Three. This is a print newspaper that talks about all kinds of esoteric, nature, philosophical stuff. It's a newspaper but only about fun and inspiring things. And I have been there since almost the beginning, I feel like. So it's been so cool to watch the evolution of this newspaper. It's gotten so big and popular, which is amazing because it really shows that a lot of people love print and want to bring it back in some shape or form. And I think this one is just so innovative. It really plays into that feeling that people are searching for in Substack, but it's here in print, which I think is so cool. And then something else I sometimes do is when I find an article online that I want to read, but I don't want to read it on my screen, I just print it. Like having a printer, I bought a printer last year. It's honestly one of the best things I did. Yeah, it's cost some money to use the ink and the paper, but it just makes me so happy to have things on paper. It's so much easier to read things on paper than on a screen, for me at least. I really don't like reading things on screens. And also it gives me the opportunity to annotate and analyze essays because I want to be a better writer. So I also have to sort of like study other people's work. This essay I printed this week is called Thanksgiving in Mongolia by Ariel Levy. It's really, really good. It was actually recommended to me in a Skillshare class, which I will talk about more later. But this was so worth the read, guys. It was absolutely heartbreaking and gorgeous. So if you want to read a good personal essay, this one. Then the next book I have here concerns print media, obviously, but also the idea of intentionally learning a new skill, which I think is also something so important if you want to, keep your brain active in an intentional way and train your attention to go where you want it to go. Like learning new things is so fun and gratifying, guys. Like I learned it last year with knitting, which is also something I will talk about more later. But actively seeing yourself getting smarter and gaining a new skill you didn't have before, it's a cool feeling. I recommend it. So that is something I want to do more in 2026. Just taking the time and giving myself the time to sit down and learn something new. Because I think the problem is we often feel like we don't have time to do that. There's already so many things to be done. We already have hobbies, so why would we learn something new? But it's a really good feeling and it's really good for your brain in general. So learning new skills is definitely one of the pillars of my intentions for 2026. And there are so many different ways to learn new things. Like obviously the internet is full of information. You can learn anything and everything just watching YouTube videos, but there is such an overwhelm of choice there. Like for me, I have a lot of choice paralysis. So just trying to find the best information out there online, it's overwhelming. Like obviously there's a lot of worth in having access to so much knowledge. Especially like in the past, that was only a thing for like rich white people, and now anyone can have access to anything, which I think is really important. But it's a lot. And if you want to do something with intention and not have your attention divided over 500 different things, I think there's something to be said for learning in a fenced off way. So obviously you can do workshops or classes in real life, which is really fun and also a great way to meet new people. But you can also learn from books. I bought this book in Edinburgh. It's called Reading the Runes, A Beginner's Guide by Kim Farnell. And this is a book about learning how to read runes. I bought some runes in a witchy shop in Edinburgh. And I have no idea how to use them. They just have always fascinated me. And I also want to incorporate runes in my witchy novel. So I obviously have to know how they work before I can do that. So like I could have just bought the runes and then looked up online how they work. But instead of doing that, I decided to buy a book because I just love sitting down with some paper in my hands and really take the time to take in information that way. So don't ask ChatGPT to tell you things. Read a book. Go to the library and find a book there on the topic you want to learn about. Like there's so many different ways to access information, and I think we have forgotten that a little bit. But if you are a visual learner and really need videos to fully understand what's being told, which I completely understand because I do have that tendency as well, then I really recommend Skillshare because it takes away the choice paralysis of having endless videos in the internet and trying to find the best one out there, like who is really an expert, who is not. Skillshare does that work for you, and I really appreciate that. It's a platform that has videos and tutorials and classes on endless amount of topics, like from writing to illustrating to design to tech, like whatever you can think of, it's there. And the most recent class I followed was by Roxane Gay, How to Write a Personal Essay, I believe it was called. And I'm such a huge fan of her. I've read Hunger and Bad Feminist by her. She's such a great writer and essayist. So I was really excited to see they had classes by her. Because like how often is it that you can get a class from one of your favorite writers? That is just so cool. So I followed this class and it was so interesting. I fully took notes in my notebook like I was actually in school, which is something I really enjoy doing. Like sometimes I miss that feeling of taking notes in class. So Skillshare really scratches that itch for me. But I actively learned so many new things, especially how to engage with other people's work in order to learn from them, which is also why I printed this essay, which Roxane Gay recommended in her classes. So yeah, I really recommend that class. If you're a Substack girly and want to write better essays, it's such a good one to follow. But also Skillshare in general, if you have the same intention as me and want to learn new things in 2026 with intention. I think Skillshare is such a great place to do it. And I have a special offer for you because the first 500 people will use the link in my description or scan this QR code that I will put on the screen. They get a 1 month free trial of Skillshare, and I really recommend taking up that offer because there's such a wealth of information out there. And thank you so much, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Speaking of learning new things, last October I randomly decided I wanted to learn how to knit because it just seemed so cozy to me, and also I kept seeing amazing handmade sweaters online that I could not afford, so I was like, what if I could make them myself? So yeah, I just asked my mom if she could show me the basics, and then with an online course I furthered my skill, and now I'm actually close to finishing my first sweater, which is absolutely crazy. Look at that. I made that and I started last October. I'm actually so impressed with myself. Yeah, I'm just working on finishing the last sleeve. I'm going very slow now because I've been reading a lot of books, so I haven't made as much time for knitting. But I'm so happy with this. This is just so cool to just learn something new and acquire a new skill, especially a skill like this, because I feel like the old arts and crafts are skills that are slowly being forgotten. And I think we should, make an active effort to preserve them and pass them on to new generations. So it started with knitting, but I would really love to learn more about food preservation, how to pickle things, like skills like that, just old skills that we don't necessarily need anymore in modern life, but I feel like are just so important to, preserve. So I'm really happy I decided to take this step. And before you get intimidated, please know that your first work can be ugly. Like, this is the first thing I ever made. It's a scarf and it looks pretty good from here, but it has so many imperfections. But I still love it because it's my first thing that I ever made and I'm just really proud of it. Look at that, she's so cute. The next thing I want to get into, which is an intention I have for 2026, is to own more physical media. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. This is where the analog life can turn into a very much consumerist trend. Like, I see it only as a matter of time that brands are gonna push new DVD players, new VHR players on us again, just so they have something new to sell. Don't do that. Everything is available secondhand. Everything already exists. So if you want something physical, please just thrift it or, buy it off Facebook Marketplace, because there's just no need to buy something new when we already have so many things in the world. But yeah, this is kind of a dangerous balance, I feel like. But I do feel like owning physical media is very important, at least to me, in the sense that it feels so strange to me that we don't own anything anymore. We basically pay rent every month to see things, which is such a crazy concept. Like, 10 years ago, this was not even a thing, And how did we get here? How did we get to having a subscription service for everything? I think I have like 5 different subscription services just for movies and shows. And it just stresses me out a little bit because when those streaming services decide that a movie or show is not important anymore, they can make it disappear. It can disappear from the internet. Like Bridgerton, for instance. Like, I don't love that show, but if you really love it and Netflix decides it's done, I guarantee you will not be able to find it anywhere because they didn't make DVDs of it. Netflix is the sole owner of that show. So if they decide to take it off, you cannot watch it anymore. Like, maybe you can pirate it somewhere in some way, but that's a scary thought. And when I think of Gilmore Girls disappearing from the world, I just panic a little because that's like a show I've been watching for the past 8 years on nonstop rotation. I think, like, when I ended, I just started anew. Like, I don't watch it every day, but like, I'm always watching it. There's not a time where I'm not watching it, And I don't own it physically. So if they take it off the streaming services, I will have to pay good money to find some physical copies of that somewhere, because obviously they're very popular now. And that's just such a weird thought. Like, there's so many movies that don't exist anymore, just because there was not enough physical copies of it and now they're just gone. So that is a long intro to say that I have started buying DVDs again. And like I said, these are not analog. Apparently DVDs are not analog media, but I still think it falls into the category of slow, intentional media. I started doing this last year. Me and my boyfriend were sort of on the same brainwave where we both felt the urge to start collecting DVDs again. And we went to a thrift store in the Netherlands that had a lot of them. and all of them were like 75 cents. And we looked at each other and we're like, should we? So yeah, we bought all these DVDs without even owning a DVD player. So we got to Christmas and we both got each other a DVD player, which is hilarious, but also kind of expected, I guess. So yeah, now we own a bunch of DVDs. I think we own about like 25, 30 max maybe. And let me tell you, it's been so calming for my brain. Like when we want to watch a movie, that is all I have to pick from. There is no choice paralysis. There's no endless scrolling. Like there's no food getting cold before you can even pick a TV show to watch. Like this is all the choice I have and it literally feels so good. And let me tell you, like we watched the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy on DVD. The nostalgia I felt when the little DVD menu came on the screen, it was the greatest thing ever. Like, do you remember those DVD menus where you had like behind the scenes or little extras or bloopers? They're still in here, guys. Like I tell you, it's go back to DVDs. Own copies of at least your favorite movies and shows. And I just have a few random ones here. I have a lot of the 2000 rom-coms. Notting Hill, Letters to Juliet. I love this movie. I have La Vita è Bella because I haven't seen that yet. My boyfriend really wanted to show it to me. I have A Midsummer Night's Dream that I'm so excited to watch. I haven't done it yet because I've been too busy, but I know this is going to be my entire personality after seeing this because I've seen so many screenshots of this on Pinterest and the atmosphere and design and costuming is just gorgeous. So that's that. Obviously, I also own a lot of books, which is also a way of owning physical media. Actually, I had like an epiphany the other day. I said to my boyfriend, like, I own all these books and it feels a little bit wrong. Like, I feel like books are not meant to just be read by one person and that's it. That's like their life's purpose fulfilled. Like, I really hope that my books will be passed on in generations or at least they will be donated and go to a place where people will keep reading them again and again. Because these books are just standing here. I just feel like books are really an item that needs to be read over and over again by a bunch of different people because it's a thing that doesn't go to waste, you know? It's not like, oh, you read the story once and then it's gone. Maybe this is a really basic brain thought for other people. Like, obviously, I already knew books can be read multiple times. It's not like that. But I just had a sort of sudden realization that I've been hoarding all these stories on my shelf while other people could enjoy them too in a way. I don't know, I have to mull this over further. Like, I don't know how I could solve this. I can hardly start a library from my house. But yeah, I just hope my books will pass through many hands in their lifetime. That would be nice. On to my next intention of analog living and slow media, and that is printing photos. This sort of ties in with the previous one, which is owning physical media. I also want to own my photos physically because they're all just in the cloud. What if they disappear from the cloud? Then we have nothing. Like technically they don't exist in your phone. They're not real. So yeah, this is me urging you to please print your photos, at least the most important ones. And I have started the painstaking activity of putting my photos in an album. It's so much work, guys. I'm actually so impressed with my mom who did this steadily throughout our entire childhoods and wrote like cute little notes and memories with all the photos because it's not for the weak. I really had to log in and sit down. But yeah, it's so nice and lovely to have memories like this, physical on paper. Like, isn't this just so amazing to look at? Compared to going through your phone. When I have kids, I want to be able to sit down with them and let them go through my photo albums and not let them go through my phone or my Instagram to see memories from the past. That's just really sad to me. Mostly I have my boyfriend to thank for this because for my birthday 2 years ago, he printed all of these photos from our first year together, which is the sweetest thing ever and definitely made me cry. But then we just never got around to putting them in an album. So that's what I started doing now. And seeing all these made me realize that we have to keep doing this. Like, this has already been 2 years ago. So imagine how many photos we amassed again in those 2 years since. So I said to my boyfriend the other day, we should just make like a Google Drive together and put like our favorite photos of each other and moments we had together in there. And then just every few months print a few of them so we can keep on top of that. and yeah, keep track of all those memories and own them physically so they cannot disappear in the cloud one day. I think that's going to be a really beautiful tradition. And yeah, I just cannot wait to have all these photo albums lined up of our lives together because I love the albums I have from my childhood. I still look through them with my sister so often. They bring me so much joy, and I want to have that of my adult life as well. It just feels really strange to not have that, to be honest, because that's how I grew up. So that is the goal for this year, to start a Google Drive, collect our favorite photos, and then just print them on a regular basis, and then also put them in an album without procrastinating too much. The next one I would really love to do, and is very analog, is writing letters. I used to do this with a friend during COVID. We started writing letters to each other, also because we lived kind of far away from each other and we're both homebodies, so we didn't see each other a lot. So I actually have a box collected of all the letters and cards my friends and family ever gave me, and it makes me so happy to look at them, just like to have all these physical memories of my friends and their sweet words collected in one place. It's the best thing ever. Also, all my friends are super creative, so I always get like the prettiest papers and stickers and stuff like that. But yeah, that's something I would love to do this year again, to start writing letters to my friends, because I know how nice it is to have physical, memories of your friends like that. Also, I have to show you this. Last year, one of my friends made this cute little trinket box for me with my name here. Like, my friends are truly the best. They're so creative and so adorable. It just makes me so happy. Like, I don't even want to use all the stickers they give me because they're like, I got them from them, they have to be in my memory box. So yeah, writing letters I think is a lovely way to bring some more intention in your life and some more attention, while also thinking of your friends and family, because I feel like it's very easy to feel close to the people around you because you see them on social media all the time, but it's a fake kind of closeness. I really realized this when one of my friends decided to stop posting on social media. She like sort of fully went offline, which I usually admire, but it also made me realize that a large part of our contact was based on replying to each other's stories, or sending online trends to each other that reminded us of each other. Like, so much of our relationship was based on that online world, and now our relationship has changed a lot, also because I live in Italy, but we just have to like search for contact in much more intentional ways, which was a huge wake-up call, to be honest. So yeah, I think if you look at their friendships today, they could also use some more attention and intention. And I really hope to do that this year with writing some letters, and maybe this will inspire you to do that too. I want to close off with a slow, intentional hobby that has always been very important to me, and that is writing. I filled so many journals, as you can see. These are all just my like personal daily, not daily, but like my daily life journals. And I love having this collection of memories, even though like I cringe so often when I read them back, which is something I think is very important, especially when you're trying to be a writer. Your journals can be cringe. They don't have to be good. They don't have to be literary works of art. No one is going to read them, hopefully. That is not the intention. The intention for me is to empty my brain, get things off my chest, and sort of try to make sense of the mess that is inside of me. And the writing for that does not have to be good. And that makes starting so much easier. I feel like a lot of people are maybe intimidated by starting a journal. A lot of people ask me, like, what do you even write about? And it's really just my thoughts. Usually it's the things I'm worrying about, because it really helps for me to get things on the paper, because when they're on the paper, they're not in my head anymore, which gives me a lot of peace of mind inside. So when you read my journals, you would think I'm the most depressing, negative person out there, but it's just I usually write when I feel bad. That's the thing. I'm not really a kind of journaler who goes like, "Dear diary, today I did this and this, and then I talked to this and this person," which I think I should do a little bit more often, because it would be a good writing exercise just in observing and storytelling. But my daily journals are just for me to vent and to make sense of the many, many thoughts in my head. But if you are someone who doesn't really journal a lot and would like to get started, I thought it would be fun to devise some, journal prompts for you so you can also get started, because I do think writing and journaling is such a great way to intentionally sit down with your thoughts and, not rush through life so much, but really think about the feelings you have, the things that happen to you, the phase of life you're in, and just make sense of things a little bit while everything around you is always just rushing past. So I have some journal prompts for you to get started. I wrote them down in my other journal. This is more like my brainstorm journal. Here I make my list, I plan things, I write down my ideas, I write down little story ideas I have, just anything that doesn't concern my thoughts and feelings directly go into this journal because I have so many like different categories in here. So the journal prompts I wrote down for you are: what ordinary object in your home feels like it holds a story? Describe a scene of your day like it's a novel. Focus on smell, sounds, observations, and sensations. What is something you rush through that deserves more attention? What are you currently outgrowing? And lastly, how would you describe the personality of your home? These are just some fun little questions you can answer in your journal and sort of get a feel for how it feels to get to know yourself in this way, because I do think journaling is a really great tool for doing that. And yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about today. I have no idea if I rushed through this too much. I felt like I had so many things to talk about and I was just so excited about so many things. But yeah, these are some of the things that I want to focus on in 2026, pay more attention to. I've sort of accepted the fact that we are prisoners of social media. It will not be going anywhere soon, and it will be really hard to like fully disconnect from all that. But there are other ways in which we can gain control over our attention in our lives and feel like we have a choice in the way we interact with things, especially in the way we interact with information, which I think is a really important part of that. Because, you know, when I look up something on the internet, I immediately get bombarded with so much other information that I did not ask for. Whereas when I open a magazine or a book, knowing what's going to be in there, that's it, there's no other distractions, there's no other noise. And yeah, I think it would be good for us to incorporate that a little bit more in our lives. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me while I chat your ears off. Also, thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I'll show the QR code one more time if you want to be one of the first 500 people to get that 1 month free trial. Highly recommend that. And yeah, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye!